Okay, here's a question for you. What if a chemistry trick, like something from over 100 years ago, could actually make cutting-edge medical treatments like mRNA vaccines way better? And not just for COVID, but maybe even for cancer, for genetic diseases. Today, we're doing a deep dive into some really fascinating research. It's from the University of Pennsylvania, just published in Nature Biomedical Engineering. And it shows how scientists basically used ancient chemistry, as they put it, to improve how mRNA vaccines get delivered, make the whole process smarter, safer, and, well, much more powerful.
Absolutely. And our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack how this seemingly tiny tweak, something inspired by, pretty simple chemistry, could genuinely revolutionize how these powerful medicines work. We're talking about maybe fewer side effects, and at the same time, really supercharging how well they work for all sorts of different conditions.
Right. I think we've all probably felt it, that sore arm or feeling a bit rubbish for a day after a vaccine shot, usually pretty mild, but what's actually happening there inside our bodies? And I guess, could we get rid of that reaction entirely?
Yeah, that feeling, those sort of typical reactions, that's inflammation doing its thing.
Hmm.
And it all comes down to these lipid nanoparticles, LNPs. They're the delivery system for the mRNA, like tiny little envelopes carrying the message. And inside those envelopes, there's one part, the ionizable lipid, that's absolutely key. Honestly, it's often seen as the most critical piece of the puzzle. So the big challenge for these Penn researchers was, okay, how can we change the structure of that specific lipid to cut down the inflammation and boost the effectiveness at the same time?
Okay, so this ionizable lipid, that's the target. But how were they usually made? Was it like a standard recipe everyone used?
Yeah, pretty much. The traditional way was fairly straightforward. You essentially link two molecular bits together. Think of it like, I don't know, putting two main ingredients together. And honestly, because this method worked pretty well, especially for the COVID vaccines, there wasn't a huge push to find alternatives. It was very much an if it ain't broke kind of situation.
Okay, so people weren't really looking elsewhere.
Not widely, no. But this is where it gets really interesting. This Penn team, instead of just trying to invent something totally new, they looked back. They actually went digging into like old chemistry textbooks almost. And they rediscovered this different approach. The Mannich reaction. It's named after the German chemist Karl Mannich, who figured it out more than a century ago. Really old school stuff.
A century ago, wow. So what's different about it? Why dust off this old reaction?
Well, the key difference, and this is quite clever, is that instead of just combining two things, the Mannich reaction lets you combine three different starting molecules, three precursors.
3 instead of 2.
Exactly. And that simple change, going from 2 to 3 components, it just blows open the possibilities. It means you can create a much, much wider variety of final molecules with different shapes and properties. It allowed the team to generate literally hundreds of completely new lipids to test.
Hundreds. Okay, so they created this huge library of potential lipids using this old Mannich reaction. How did they figure out which one was the winner? Was there like a secret ingredient?
There was. As they sifted through this big library, one particular chemical feature really stood out. They found that adding a phenol group made a massive difference.
A phenol group. What's that in simple terms?
So think of it as a specific arrangement. You've got hydrogen and oxygen atoms connected to a ring of carbon molecules. It's actually found in things like olive oil components. And adding this phenol group, this tag, it turned out to drastically reduce inflammation. Like Dr. Ning-Kwang Gong, one of the researchers, said, the phenol group not only reduces the side effects, but improves their efficacy. Both things at once.
Reduces side effects and improves efficacy. That's the magic combo.
Exactly.
So why? Why does this phenol group work so well? What's the science there?
Yeah, it's pretty neat, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Other studies had already shown that compounds containing phenols are good at fighting inflammation. They do it by neutralizing nasty things called free radicals.
Free radicals, I've heard of those. They're bad.
Right. They're basically unstable molecules. They have unpaired electrons, and they zip around, causing damage, disrupting the body's chemistry. It's like biochemical static. And when you get too many of these free radicals and not enough antioxidants to sort of mop them up, you end up with what's called oxidative stress.
Oxidative stress. Okay.
Yeah, and that's bad news. It can damage proteins, mess with your DNA, even kill cells. Think of it like rust building up inside your cells.
Got it. So the phenol groups are like rust protectors.
That's a great way to put it. They act as antioxidants, neutralizing those free radicals and lowering that oxidative stress.
Okay, so how did the researchers prove their specific phenol-containing lipids were doing this? What tests did they run?
Well, they did direct comparisons. They took their new lipids, formulated them into LNPs, and tested them against standard LNPs in animal models. They specifically looked for biological markers, signs in the body, that are associated with oxidative stress and inflammation.
Yeah, and the results.
Really clear-cut. The best one they found, this lipid they named CA16, the one made using the Mannich reaction with the phenol group, it caused significantly less inflammation, less oxidative stress compared to the others.
Less inflammation, so the phenol group really works.
It really does. And here's the crucial link. By lowering that oxidative stress, by sort of calming things down at the cellular level, it just makes it easier for the LNP to do its job properly. The mRNA payload gets delivered more effectively because the cell isn't freaking out, basically.
Okay, so less inflammation is definitely good news for feeling better after a shot. Fewer side effects, that's a big win. But does it only mean less discomfort? Or does this reduction in stress actually make the treatments themselves more potent?
Ah, yes, exactly. It's not just about comfort. The performance boost is where things get really, really exciting. Let's look at what CA16, this new LNP formulation, actually did in some of those animal tests. Take gene therapy. They used it to deliver a classic marker gene, the one that makes fireflies glow, just to see how well the gene gets expressed.
Right, the glowing mice experiment?
That's the one. And with CA16, the glow in the mice was about 15 times brighter compared to using the LNPs from Onpattro.
15 times. And Onpattro is, that's an actual FDA-approved drug, isn't it, for ATR?
Exactly. It's a current, gold standard treatment for hereditary transthyretin amyloidosis. So outperforming that delivery system by 15 times. That's significant.
That really is. Wow. What else?
Well, sticking with ATR for a second, they also tested it with CRISPR gene editing tools, the molecular scissors for DNA. Using CA16 lipids to deliver CRISPR actually doubled the treatment's effectiveness in the mouse model compared to the standard delivery methods. Doubled it.
Doubled the effectiveness of gene editing. Incredible. What about cancer?
Yeah, really promising there, too. They looked at a mouse model of melanoma using an mRNA cancer treatment. When that treatment was delivered using CA16 lipids, it shrank the tumors 3 times more effectively than when delivered using the kind of LNPs found in the COVID vaccines.
3 times better tumor shrinkage.
Yes. And not only that, the CA16 lipids also seemed to boost the body's own cancer-fighting T cells. They became better at finding and killing the tumor cells, and they showed less oxidative stress themselves.
So the immune cells were healthier and more effective, too.
Exactly. And finally, the one everyone knows, COVID vaccines. When they prepared mRNA COVID vaccines using these new CA16 lipids, the immune response they saw in the animal models was 5 times stronger than with the standard LNP formulations.
5 times stronger immune response. That could mean lower doses or maybe longer protection.
Potentially, yes. All these results point to the same thing. Causing less disruption, less oxidative stress, allows these phenol-containing lipids to just boost the performance across the board. Gene therapy, cancer therapy, vaccines.
It really seems like optimizing the delivery is almost as important as the medicine itself. And these animal results are, they're fantastic. What's the next step? Getting this into people?
That's the goal, absolutely. The immediate next steps involve more safety testing, preclinical toxicology studies, making sure there are no long-term issues we haven't seen yet. And then, if all that looks good, moving into human clinical trials. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. It's a rigorous path, but this data gives, a lot of reason for optimism.
Definitely.
But stepping back for a moment, what's also just fascinating is the whole idea behind it. Looking back at these sort of forgotten chemical reactions like the Mannich, makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredibly useful chemistry, maybe other ways to improve LNPs or other drug delivery systems, might just be sitting there in old journals waiting to be rediscovered?
Yeah, it's like there could be hidden gems in the history of science.
Precisely. As Dr. Mitchell, the senior author on the paper, said, and I think this sums it up beautifully, we tried applying one reaction discovered a century ago and found it could drastically improve cutting-edge medical treatments. He finished by saying, it's exciting to imagine what else remains to be rediscovered.
That really is exciting. It flips the script a bit, looking back to leap forward. So, let's wrap this up. The big takeaway, the aha moment from this step dive, it's that a surprisingly simple chemistry trick, over 100 years old, inspired by things like olive oil, is now showing incredible potential to make modern medicine, vaccines, gene therapies, cancer treatments work much better and potentially cause fewer side effects.
Yeah. And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. In our world, we're always chasing the absolute newest thing, right? The next big breakthrough. But how much wisdom, how many elegant solutions might already exist hidden in plain sight in the knowledge, the techniques, the old tricks from the past, just waiting for us to look back and find them. What else is out there, ready to solve today's problems?